Okay. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say Kalayim Layel Bashim Yosha Bashim Harakakwadash. And to bond us to the elders and apostles, agree Milsta and GMS to do rule and teach well. Today is the Passover, and in honor of the Passover, just want to go over, a few things in Deuteronomy 16 from 1 through 8, and just kind of go over it, just kind of set the tone for the Passover and everything. So, observe the month of Abib, which is the first month. Keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Right, which you can read the book of Exodus 12, to get into it, right? And it'll pretty much explain everything, right? From there, right? This is just kind of like a shorter version, right? Thou shalt serve for a sacrifice the Passover to the Lord thy God, the flock and the herd in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there, right? The place where we're to worship, like it says here, which was first the tabernacle, and then eventually it became the temple in Jerusalem, King David and then King Solomon, right? King Solomon built it, right? The first temple, right? Nowadays we don't have no temple, so we're rebuilding that temple now. All of us coming together, forming this body and this truth, and that's pretty much what is, your body. You are a living temple. That one as well, so right now we're just rehearsing the right sex, so I obviously can't keep this to the letter, right? So therefore, thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. But we will soon, though. Low one, if I'm of that number. Although I am of that number, we'll keep it in the kingdom perfectly, because we'll have the rulership, and we'll be able to keep it, righteously, with impunity even, because we're not going to have to answer to these other nations and have to tiptoe around their rules and their society, right? We'll force them to do it too, so that'll be the end of that. Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. Sorry, it's no yeast products, no flour products, none of that stuff. None of that. What do they say? Like fermented grain stuff, like bread and shit. 7 days thou shalt thou eat unleavened bread, therewith even the bread of affliction. For thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day which thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. Right, so that's why we eat it, to remember the days when we came out of the land of Egypt. The Lord brought us out of there. Scriptures talk about that. The Lord brought us out with a heavy hand, with a strong hand, right? That power and that might He used to bring us out of there, right? Nowadays, the Lord is only going to be bringing over a select few out of this place, out of the new Egypt. It's going to be elect out, right? 2/3 therein shall die, and 1/3 shall make it out, right? 2/3 shall be cut up and die. And the second verse talks about that, therefore have they prayed for the weak, the fathers of old, the prophets, they prayed for the nation as a whole, and the Lord heard them and saved the nation as a whole. Moses, right? But nowadays the Lord isn't going to save the nation as a whole, because 2/3 must die through death by pain. They went off time and time and time again and never wanted to get right. So now they have to die and then come back and get right. And you wicked Israelites all around the world, you will also die, right? And then that will be, the end of that. It's deeper than that, but that'll be pretty much that. You people out there are gonna get it. Also doesn't talk about it here, but you got the bitter herbs as well, and the wine. Remember Yahushai, he had wine with his Passover, so you should get wine for your Passover. Of course, if you're um, able to, if you're underage, don't get yourself in trouble. And actually, you'll be unable to do that stuff anyway because you know, at least with me, I just got the matzah and wine for the Passover from Instacart. I just got it Instacarted because it was raining really heavy today, and I was like, I'm not going to take no bus. I got the Worcester and the lambs. I got that one from a supermarket close by, but I couldn't get you know everything. Just close by. Matzahs is where you're gonna kind of run into trouble. And there's a place where I could theoretically get wine close to me, but I'm not going there. It's the fucking places by the projects, and I'm not going on there. And I was not taking any trains today. So I just wanted to. Why am I going to this? Because I just want to leave that out there for any brothers who are like, man, like it's raining, and how do I get the stuff? How do I get everything? And that stuff. But how do I get everything to keep the Passover? I really want to keep the Passover. Just use Instacart. And just eat the delivery costs. They're gonna beat you over the head. Just eat that, and go ahead and get everything you need. Simple, easy, right? Just putting that out there, right? There should be no unleavened bread seen with the all the 7 coasts. And I should anything in the flesh without sacrifice the first day even remain all night until the morning. Right, so no leavened bread. So ideally you would put it in your car if you have a car. If you have a shack or something in your backyard, you can leave it there or something, or you just get rid of it, or if Passover is coming in, right? Um, you know, don't buy any extra. If you eat muffins and stuff, eat enough to like last you until the Passover day. And then once you run out, you just run out, and you just don't buy any more of it, until it's over. And there's plenty of other stuff you can eat anyway. You just eat the matzah, the unleavened bread, for the Passover meal. But after that, you have any vegetables, any kind of like rice product, brown rice, white rice, potatoes. All that stuff doesn't have any yeast or anything in it. You just want to stay away from the bread, So you could just make a whole bunch of potatoes, and that'll last you for you know. You can eat that for breakfast. As soon as you get up, you have whatever you're gonna make with it, and have some potatoes with it, and then let that be that. It's not something that you just do it. You don't make a big deal about it. You don't really just it's just get rid of the bread, right? And why do you do this? Because you got to remember, we came out of Egypt, and there was no time to like apply flour and do all that stuff and then leaven it and everything. So you gotta remember it, and you have to seriously keep it, right? But not to be over righteous or anything. With keeping the stuff in your house, if you live with people, then that's the end of that. If you have a wife or something, that's not really gonna work. If you have a wife and kid, it's not gonna work. And if you live with your parents, that's not gonna work. So you keep it to the best of your ability. And try to be subtle with it. Don't tell anyone what you're doing. Right? Don't cast your pearls before swine. Let it be a secret. You keep it. You eat the food in haste, and make it solemn. Say, oh, you can have your homeboy from the world in there, and this nigga got fucking do rag. I say, yo, bro, you want to keep this with me? It's like, no. You shouldn't even be around people like that. But I'm just saying it like that, just kind of making light. But may it's not sacrifice Passover with any of the gates which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Right? Because nowadays we just rehearse the righteous acts and everything, right? But this was back then, because the Lord was going to set up a place where we could keep the Passover, right? Which ended up being eventually the temple in Jerusalem, with King Solomon, first temple. right? But nowadays, our land has been taken over by Amalek, so that's the end of that. We just keep it at home, and you know, we perform everything, rehearse the righteous acts, right? A place which thy Lord thy God shall choose to place his name therein, thou shalt sacrifice the Passover even at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt, right? So right now it's sundown, right? While the sun is still down, right? I'm gonna set everything up and you know, perform the Passover, right? While the sun is still down, right? I'm not gonna like wait and wait and wait, right? Or do it. Oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. No, no, no. You gotta do it right now at sundown, right? And why do you do that? Because right, you came out of Egypt, at the sundown, at night. So you gotta keep it at night, right? And thou shalt eat and roast it in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, and I shall turn it into the morning and go into the tents, right? So you gotta do it. You eat it, and then you turn in and you go into where your tents, your talons, the next day, right? And I think I would pretty much went into it. Once you eat the Passover meal, the matzah, the wine, the lamb, and the bitter herbs. You gotta throw it all out. You don't keep it around, and you don't eat it like a lamb dinner or nothing like that. You eat it in haste, and whatever you don't eat, you throw it in the trash, and then you throw it out, immediately. You don't wait. Try to get rid of it immediately. Just put it in the trash and everything. And say, oh, I'm throwing out the trash. Let that be that. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work therein. Because it's just another Sabbath cycle, it's not a different day. You just keep the Sabbath cycle, and that day also is a solemn assembly, because that's the last day of the Passover. So, first day, last day, solemn assemblies, right? But only on the first day of the Passover do you actually keep the rites. The lamb and the unleavened bread. You must eat those things together. The matzah, you got other types. It was a nati or something, some type of Indian bread. Any type of unleavened bread. Certain tortillas are like unleavened, but not all tortillas are. You gotta check that. And then that's pretty much it. So low one, you edified, and I'm gonna say shalom.